Hello, and welcome to the CHEM111 Flex Lab, Factors Affecting Reaction Rate. The objective of this experiment is to study the effect of reaction rate by varying several different qualities. First one will be temperature, concentration, and the surface area of our reactants. Controlling reaction rate is really significant because if a reaction goes too fast, it could get explosive. Or if a reaction is too slow, it may become economically unviable to run it. In this lab, we're going to measure reaction rates by the disappearance of a magnesium ribbon. Magnesium ribbon is going to react with an aqueous solution of hydrochloric acid, and we'll see magnesium chloride form and bubbles of hydrogen gas. So in this lab, we're going to vary the concentration of the HCl and measure the time for the magnesium to disappear. We're also going to vary the temperature and measure the time for the magnesium to disappear. And we're going to vary the surface area by coiling our magnesium ribbon. After we get all of our results, we're going to graph them and compare our results.
So we've got a couple of experiments where we specifically need to be worried about our glove protocols. And those experiments are the solution concentration, the titration standardization, and the titration for the vinegar concentration. So when we talk about those experiments, it's absolutely necessary that we wear gloves for the entire experiments. For the other experiments, gloves are recommended. They're not necessarily necessary. It's never that we don't want you to wear them, but you don't have to wear them for the other experiments. For these, it's necessary. So I want to show you how to properly put on a pair of gloves, how to take them off, and then talk about what are proper protocols for using those gloves in those experiments. So let's talk about how we put those gloves on. So we're going to take gloves out of this container. Here's one, here's two. I'm going to set those down. We're going to make sure that we put them on appropriately. So we want to make sure that we get our thumbs into the thumb spots on our gloves. So that's one. I want to get that over my watch because I want to make sure I don't kill my watch while I'm wearing it. And then I have my second one. If I can get this thing sorted out because they're all shoved in there. Not necessarily easy to put on. Some people take their rings off before they do this. It depends on how big your rings are. I have ones that are tiny so I don't break through my gloves. That was a decision we made. But these are how I put them on. Putting them on is the easy part. Okay? Taking them off is not the easy part. When I'm in the lab and I'm working with these gloves, everything is fine. If I have to leave the lab for whatever reason, I need to go to the bathroom, I need to take a phone call, I need to eat something, I need to do something outside of the lab, including taking a drink, then I need to take these gloves off. So if I'm going to take these gloves off, I can take the first one off fairly easily, right? Fairly simple. But when I go to take the second one off, I want to hook my fingers inside of it, grab a hold of the inside, and then pull it off like that so that I'm holding the inside when I'm dealing with it, not the contaminated outside part of the glove. And then I take those off. I'm then going to wash my hands to make sure that I get anything off of my hands that shouldn't be there, because sometimes we accidentally get chemicals inside. Okay, and then I'm going to go do whatever I need to do. When I come back to the lab, I'm going to go to the front bench. I'm going to wash my hands again, just because I'm paranoid. And then I'm going to put on another pair of gloves. And I'll do that before I handle anything in the normal part of the lab. Okay, because chemicals can be just about anywhere. So we want to make sure that we're dealing with clean hands before we put them back into those gloves. Now, things that we need to make sure that we're dealing with when we talk about these experiments. We put those gloves on before we handle anything, because you may not be the first lab for that week. So the things that we're dealing with may not be as clean as we want them to be. So we want to make sure that we're dealing with, everything in gloves. So make sure we've got those dealt with the gloves on. Anything that we deal with in the lab needs to be done that way. Anytime anybody is working with anything, doesn't matter if it's chemical or not, for those labs, we need to be wearing those gloves. Okay? So I think that's everything I need to talk about with the gloves. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. So we're going to talk now about the experimental side of factors affecting reaction rates. When we talk about this lab, all of the information that you need is in the lab manual. It will tell you exactly what equipment you need other than what's in the kit. Make sure that you follow the directions carefully from the lab manual. Make sure that you label all of your beakers so that you know exactly what chemicals you're working with. This particular lab We're going to be changing concentration, temperature, and surface area by coiling that magnesium ribbon that we're reacting with the HCl. So those are the 3 things that you're going to change. It's important that you take your data consistently. So however you take the temperature for the first one, you do it the same way for the second one. So your conditions should be identical between the runs that you're doing. Other than that, you need to follow the directions that are in the lab manual. Since you're working with hydrochloric acid, you should be wearing gloves. We have lots of information about how to put the gloves on. If you get any of the HCl on your skin, make sure that you wash it copiously with water and let the instructor know so that you can get medical attention if you need it. Okay. All of your waste should go into the waste container. There is nothing else you really need to know about this lab. So go and have fun with this particular experiment.